Hey guys, welcome back to the Thisissoul Skate Shop YouTube channel. Today I'm here talking about the DEM909 skate. I'm gonna do a full review, tell my honest opinion about everything there is to know about this skate. I'm gonna run through the different models of the skate, what sets them apart from each other. I'm gonna run through the history of DemSkates and of the DEM909 and tell my honest opinion about them all. Check out the rest of this video if you want to learn more. We are here right now in our store in Amsterdam where we have all the skates that are available in our industry. So if you want to get some skates, it's best to just come by and try them all on your feet, because that is, in the end of the day, the best way to buy some skates. If you're an online shopper because you live super far away from Amsterdam and there's no other way for you to come by the store and you want to learn a lot more about the skate, then check out the rest of this video because I'm going to tell you a lot. First thing I'll do is tell you a little bit of the history of the DemSkates brand. DemSkates was founded by John Julio in 2018, but before that, this gentleman already had a lot to do in our industry. He started as a pro skater in the 90s, got involved in a few different brands like England, and was sponsored by a few big brands in the past already. And in 2003, he got involved in Valo. Valo was a sub-brand of Roaches. Roaches is, of course, a really big inline skate manufacturer. And in 2003, their numbers went down and they needed a partnership to get some fresh air for their aggressive skates. So Valo was created. This was basically like a Roaches M12, their classic boot with a skin over it. John did a really good job with marketing those skates. It was for 15 years one of the most popular brands that we sold here at Thisissoul Skate Shop. But in 2017 and in the late 2010s, their relationship kind of went not as good anymore. So John started to orientate to make like a next move. Valo has discontinued as a sub-brand for Roaches because it was mainly carried by John himself. And when he departed from Roaches, he started DemSkates. Dem was already a brand that he used under the name Dem Goods, so he already had like Dem bearings and some Dem clothing that he sold. So the brand was actually already established. I don't know exactly what year it was, but probably somewhere in the early 2010s he started this brand. But since 2018 he came with the first inline skates under this brand name. The first skate that he released was the DEM908. And it was called the DEM908 because that was just happened to written on the boot, so on the mold. It just happened to say 908, so that's how we called it. Quite interesting how that went. And this is an open mold, meaning that he went to a factory and the factory just happened to have this mold laying around, but it was owned by that factory, not by John himself. So he started to make skates with that mold, but pretty soon afterwards, that factory started making a really similar skate with that mold as well. So then he realized like, hey, this is not the way I want to set up my brand, because I want to have products that are exclusively for my brand. And the mindset started to be that they needed to create something that was generally a DemSkate. So he started working together with Kyle Sola, which is a famous inline skate designer, on the DEM909. So it's one more than the 908. The DEM909 now is a completely designed skate by John. This is since this year they brought out the 909 complete, and every single part of this skate is designed by John and Kyle together. Let me run you through the different models right now on the market and what sets them apart from each other. So there are 3 different levels or types of skates that they release. They have like the basic versions, which are just like, yeah, their standard version, just like a standard black or standard gray skate like this. They have their collaborations with pro skaters. So then these skates have the name of Mopey on this, or this Patrick Ritter right here. And they now have also like a collabo with another brand, and this is, for example, the Brain Dead skate right here. So there's 3 different levels or types of skates, and price point wise, there's also 2 different type of price points for the DEM 909, and this main difference between these price points is, of course, if it's a pro skate or normal skate, but there's also one other big factor, and that's what type of liner is in the skate. There is the stock DEM liner, which is really thick, squishy liner, and there's also the Intuition liner. I'm going to tell a lot more about that later in this video. So those are the things that you have to look out for if you're buying a DEM skate. The main differences are if it's a normal version, a pro version, a collabo version, and is it a stock liner or an Intuition liner type. And there's big differences in how these all fit, if it's a normal version or an Intuition liner. Another interesting thing that they did right now is they made the DEM 80s. And this is the first type of DEM skate with bigger wheels, naming 80mm. It's a skate with a totally different sole plate, and it's quite interesting how this like sole frame, because it's a frame with sole plate combined, attached to the boot. It's the same attachment system as the normal sole plate. It uses 4 bolts, so you can just take a boot like this, take the sole plate off, and then put the DEM 80s sole frame on it with 80mm wheels. By the way, in this video, I'm gonna probably throw in a lot of terms like sole plate or like liner, or if any of these things that I'm saying does not make any sense to you, we have a lot of other videos on our YouTube channel. So check out all these videos about all these different topics, because we have entire videos about every term that you might not understand, which I'm gonna do like a complete breakdown of what it means and what factors there are about what set all the different like sole plates apart, or liners apart, or buckles, or like anything you want to learn. Check out our YouTube, because there's lots of information there. Next thing I'm going to do is run through all the different aspects of the skate, different parts of the skate, and tell you what sets them apart from other skates, what nuances there are within the DEM 909, and what I think of them. First thing, is one of the most important thing about any skate, is the fit. Like, how does it feel on your feet? And I already told you that there's 2 different versions, naming the standard version with the standard stock liner, which is the cheapest version, and then the more expensive Intuition liner. These have a slightly different fit. The standard version is more tight. That liner is more padded, so there's less room inside the same shell. Then with the Intuition liner, the Intuition liner is a little bit thinner, so that gives a little bit more room. When John first started this brand, he did like a video call meeting with all the big shops. So of course we had a meeting with John as well back in 2018, or I think 2017 when he just started, and I got the chance to tell the things that I think he should think about when starting a brand like that. And one of the things I mentioned was that I would advise him to do double sizing, because nobody ever likes to have a smaller liner inside a shell that can also be bigger. So if you have a standard boot, standard plastic shell, you can actually take out the liner. If I'm going to show you like this, and just take out the liner. And what some brands do is they put a liner that's slightly smaller at the front. They put it in the skate and call that another size. But actually, everything else about the skate, like the way it fits here, the way it fits there, here, and the way it flexes, everything about how it works still stays the same. It's just the little bit of length at the toes. Nobody ever told me that they wanted to have less room at the toe and keep everything else the same. It's the most important thing that there's pressure here, and normally that also means that there pressure is pressure at the toes. But if you can avoid the pressure at the toes, people always prefer that. So I advise him to only have one liner for each shell. It also makes it easier for shops. It makes it easier for customers to get the right size, because they understand more how the sizing works. If it's dual sized, because it's more of an honest way to advertise the sizing, because the shell actually in the end of the day determines how a skate feels on your feet, and the liner kind of like will adopt and mold to your foot anyway. If you want to learn more about that topic, because there's a lot more to say about it, check out our video about the skate sizing lie on YouTube. In general, this skate is not particularly wide, it's not particularly high, so the fit, I would say, is quite a normal fit for a normal type foot. Next topic is the flex, and with flex you can break it down in two parts, the forward flex and the sideways flex. And I would say that the sideways flex is about right. It's pretty stiff the way it should be. It should be stiff, and the forward flex is just about good as well. It's no problem in that area. If you compare the 908 and the 909, then you can definitely see that the 908, which is the older version of the skate, has more sideways flex. This also means that if you want to get bigger wheels to put on your 909 skate, if you want to put on like a 80 or 90 millimeter wheel or maybe like a wizard frame, then I would not advise you to get a 908 because it's too flexy for big wheels. Next topic is what's underneath the skate. You have always a raised heel in the skate, so your heel is always higher than the front of the skate. And some boots have inside a flat bottom, and they put the heel raiser with some sort of a cushioning inside, so it's called a shock absorber. It feels really soft, but it also absorbs a lot of your energy. The Dem 909, you can see here, it has a raised heel in the shell itself, so there's no energy loss because of this raised heel, and that's actually beneficial if you want to do big gaps or if you want to jump off roofs, which I don't advise anyway, but then maybe a shock absorber underneath your heel would be good, and then this might not be the skate you want, but still I see a lot of people doing a lot of big gaps on this as well. Just have to bend your knees. So that's a thing that's good to know. There's a heel raiser and there's no shock absorber in this skate. Next topic is the liner. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the liner. They have a few different versions. So here I already showed you the liner. This is the stock liner, and this is not the newest version. I think this is like the 2020 version, and it has a plastic tongue which is a little bit thinner. The current versions of this liner has a thicker and more like flexible tongue. So here I'll show you. If I take out this liner, boom, you can see that this tongue is more flexible and a lot thicker than this one. Another thing they changed, it is iconic flap that they had in the beginning. In the newer models, it's gone. Next topic is the cuff of the skate. With the Dem 908, they had the standard cuff that came with that shell. And for the Dem 909, they redesigned the cuff as well. It's actually the same sizing system as the Dem 908, so any 908 cuff will fit on a 909 and vice versa, so you can swap them. But they did change something that's quite interesting. And you can see it if you take the cuff off, that there's a little spacer inside that you can flip up and down, so you can change the height of the cuff. A lot of people lose these cool cuff bolts that they have. You can see it, it's like a two-piece cuff bolt with an outer ring and an inner bolt. And there's no aftermarket for these, so we as a shop cannot buy them from them, these cuff bolts. But Rollerblade has very, very similar cuff bolts. So if you ever lose a Dem cuff bolt, then you can just put on a Rollerblade cuff bolt instead. If you don't know how to find that on our website, because there's so many products, of course, on thisissoul.com, we have a skate part finder tool. So just go to our homepage, thisissoul.com, then you go to parts, it pops out, and then it's right there, the skate part finder tool. It has a list of all the skates, so you just go down and it says all Dem 909 parts. Click on it, then you see a complete list, and you'll of course find the Rollerblade part on it as well. So not just the branded Dem skate parts that fit on these skates, but also other brands parts that also fit on these skates are also listed there. Quite handy. On this cuff is of course a cool buckle. This is a great buckle. It's a standard buckle that's also being put on, you can see some skates behind me. Here's the FR skate. Wait, it's not this version. Here's the FR1. It has the same cuff up. Here is the FR1. It has the same buckle than the 909. So it's also like a generic buckle, but I already told you, since their latest model called the Dem 909 Complete, it's completely designed by them, and so the newest model has like a cool new buckle, specially made for them, and it has a little circle here. I think, and this is my estimate, I'm not entirely sure, but I think that this circle might symbolize like one of the wheels of their logo. So their logo is 4 dots, and this might be one of the dots, I think. Another cool thing is that this buckle has a little bit of easier grip, so you can grab it easily with your thumb. Then the previous buckle was a little bit more tucked away, and it was harder to open. So it's a good improvement of their new buckle. Next topic is the Soleplate. So here you can see it. This is the Dem Soleplate. There's 3 versions, so they're in the V3 now. And this is I think the first version that I'm holding right now. There's not a lot of big differences. So the first version was a little bit smaller. It was a really small Soleplate, and the backside groove was a little bit more sharp instead of rounded. And the second version had improved hardware and a little bit more thickness on the inside so that it lasted longer. And now the third version is a little bit wider and it has more of a rounded backside groove. So that is a good improvement. I don't see it as a world of difference. If it was up to me, I would prefer the V3, but I've also skated the other versions of this skate, and that it all worked fine for me, of course. So no big deal, but if you can choose the V3. That is, however, that you can find them, because if you need another Soleplate, it's really hard to get them, especially in Europe. But we did an entire video about raised heel Soleplates, where I took off all the Soleplates of all the different boots that have a raised heel. So that's the 909, but it's also the USD Sway, the Rose's Fifth Element, and the Rose's M12, the Mesmer Throne that you can see right here, and I think there's one more. Yeah, the Razor's Cult, of course. So I took off all the Soleplates of all these different sizes of boots, and I tried all the Soleplates on every one of them to see what Soleplate works on what boot. So if you're interested in learning that, you can obviously see that in our skate part finder tool and on all the Soleplates on our website. It's listed in the description what will fit on what skate, and there's definitely other Soleplates that do fit on these skates as well. Next topic is the frame of the skate and also the mounting. So if you look at the bottom of this boot, you see 2 holes and it's flat on the bottom. That means that it's a UFS or universal frame system type of mounting, and any UFS frame will fit on this skate. You can get a very small and short frame, or you can get a long frame. You can get big wheels or small wheels, anti-rocker or flat. Anything that you want, you can fit on this skate. Quite interesting is that Dem also made a collabo with Braindead here. So this is the Braindead skate, but they also just made a new Braindead collabo, and within that Braindead collabo they also made a collabo with Wizard. And Wizard skating is synonymous for having a long wheelbase with a rocker, and the rocker means that your outer wheels are a little bit higher so that you're super maneuverable. The long wheelbase means that you're super stable, and that stability and maneuverability opens up a lot of trick possibilities, and that's called Wizard skating. So this boot's also suitable apparently for Wizard skating because they brought it out as a Wizard skate, so that's pretty cool. Basically, having a UFS boot means that you can put anything on it that you want. It comes, however, with a standard Dem frame. So this is kind of like a mixture between an anti-rocker and a flat frame, meaning you can skate it flat with 4 wheels, or you can skate it anti-rocker with 2 smaller wheels in the middle. But for both these options, it's not the best frame. So I would advise you to just start with this frame if you want to just start with the sport, or if you want to get a good pair of skates. This is a decent frame to start with, but a lot of people in the end get a wish frame, spelled O-Y-S-I, OYSI. And because a wish frame enables you to have like 4 wheels on the ground with a really big groove so that it's easier to grind with. Now let's go down to the wheels. These are just some standard wheels, I guess. Nothing special to it. They're fine to just roll with if this is your first pair of skates. It's all good. But if you really want to get the best setup, these are not the best wheels. I'm just going to say it honestly. So I do advise you then to upgrade them to something better. The bearings, however, are just fine. Don't worry about the bearings. They're good bearings. Those were all the parts of the skate and what I think about it. So now I want to summarize what you can do to customize this skate. Let's start with, if you want to help with this, to go to our skate part finder tool on our website. Again, I keep mentioning this because it's really important. It's a really nice tool because over there we explain also all the compatibility issues that you might think of with the skate. So what kind of frame would fit, like I just explained, but also like smaller parts like bolts and everything is explained there. But I'm also gonna break it down to you here in this new segment of this video. Things that I would definitely do if I would get this skate is I would change the frame to a wish frame, like I just said. I would change the laces to some waxed laces so that you can tighten the boot really nicely. Waxed CCM laces are great. I would change the insole to a Superfeet insole. So right now I'll show you. The insole of this skate is really, really flimsy. It's actually nothing much. You can just roll it like this. And you want to have an insole that's specially made for a type of boot like this. Because if you have like a walking shoe, you can roll your foot off like this. But in a skate, your foot is fixed. So there's a special type of insole for a fixed type boot like this, and it's called a Superfeet insole, and it locks your foot into the position that your foot wants to be in, a little bit with a little bit supination in it, and it has a hard cup for your heel to keep your feet nice and comfortable. I would also definitely, if I would skate this skate, put in some high quality wheels like Undercover brand, Galts or Dead wheels, or maybe even better, get some metal core wheels like Famas or the Undercover Apex. Those wheels are super fast. And then one last thing that I want to show you that might freak you out if you never thought about it. Of course, this skate has the universal frame system on it for mounting frames on it. So you can put on any UFS frame, but you can also put Trinity mounted frames on it by putting on this Trinity Adapter. So this is a nice little adapter. You can buy it on Thisissoul.com, and you can mount it directly under the boot. And that creates a 3-point system mounting with a raised heel in it. So the heel is higher in the mount than the 2 front bolts. And there's a whole like ecosystem of frames for this type of mounting, especially for big wheel skating. So there's no small wheels in the Trinity frame segment. But if you want to use this boot to cruise with, get some bigger wheels, it's possible to put on the Trinity Adapter. So that's a nice little thing to know of a modification that you can put on this boot. And that's the last thing that I wanted to point out for my information about the 909. And this was my review. If you want to get more reviews, of course, we do every skate that you see here behind me. We have a review about it on our website, thisissoul.com, on all the product pages, but you can also go to our YouTube channel directly. It's called Thisissoul Skate Shop, of course, and check out all the reviews. We try to make a new video every week on our YouTube channel, so consider subscribing to our page, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, you can always drop it in the comments. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.